beater at Boston Garden. From Hawaii comes Morse code, but first the football, where one Cowboy cries and another retires.
And this just in, the Niners have already scored the first points of Super Bowl 29. One of the big questions going into the NFC Championship game was the condition of the Candlestick Park playing field. Well, any remaining uncertainties about the turf may be directed to Mr. Troy Aikman, who on Sunday would get to inspect more of it than any groundskeeper ever has, up to and including George Toma. To the stick, Leslie Visser did not wear a hat, and the repercussions were about what you would expect before the game. Just a little tearing up of the turf. First quarter, third play of the game, Eric Davis, who really was the MVP, steps in front of Aikman's pass, stepped off his man, took a big gamble, 44-yard touchdown, 7-0 Niners. The next Cowboy possession, this time Aikman gets the ball past Eric Davis and company, but then Davis strips Irvin, and it's 49er ball again. 7-0. We're just past the opening whistle. Sets up George Seifert, sets up Steve Young. He has plenty of time. Pumps once, goes right. Nice little drop pass to Ricky Waters, who high steps it in. And yeah, he made it 14-0 San Francisco. Could it get worse for Dallas? You bet. Kevin Williams fumbles the ensuing kickoff. It gets knocked away from him. It's Niner ball again. Things moving so fast, William Floyd wasn't even dressed to come back in. Niners at the 1. Touchdown. 21-0 San Francisco. Emmett said it was like spotting Carl Lewis 20 yards in a 100-yard dash. The Cowboys, however, made up a little of the distance. Aikman deep up top for Irvin. Touchdown Cowboys, but it's still 21-7. Now 24-7 Niners in the second. Emmett, who was healthy more or less, stumbles in from 4 out. It's 24-14. Niners, though, looking to put them away inside the 30-second mark to Rice with a 28-yard touchdown just before the half. It was 31-14. Second half, Emmett scores. It's 31-21. And then Steve Young stumbling and flopping in. Beautifully done. He's a rough guy. 38-21 San Francisco. Niners rolling. Steve Young gives today's great Gazoo helmet to Steve Wallace. Early in the fourth, Emmett, that's it, pulled the hammy again. He's out of the game. But the Cowboys, despite Emmett's condition, are not out. Aikman, during one of his brief periods of standing upness, to Irvin for another touchdown. 38-28. Then late in the fourth, the controversy. Is Dion guilty of pass interference on Michael Irvin? Either that or he's just checking Michael's heartbeat. No call, but then Barry Switzer runs into an official, and they wind up penalizing the Cowboys 15 yards. Aikman took a beating all time, sacked by Rhett Hall, and the Niners win it 38-28, and afterwards Young, usually a placid enough fellow, crazy goes nuts. One video cameraman is down, and then a still photographer is down, and he's going to get yet a third one. 3 tackles for Steve. Right there, he's down. It's all over. They sacked Aikman 4 times, and Young by himself sacked 3 cameramen. Aikman dropped another 20 times. Why did that happen? More on that in our breakdown segment later. Key losing stat, perhaps. Alvin Harper, 1 reception, 14 yards. They stuck Dion on him. Anyway, Steve Young is headed for his first Super Bowl as a starter. He says Aikman told him on the field afterwards, this is your year, it's your turn. Whose turn was it when they didn't throw that flag on Dion? Barry Switzer spoke about the controversy with our Chris Mortensen.
What they call that, Barry?
What do you mean what they call?
Did they call bumping the official?
Well, I just showed them what Dion does to Michael. They won't call it. It's 35-38 to make the call.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's a tough penalty to take at that point.
They look at him a little bit different. Larry Brown gets a little this, and they call on him.
If he saw fit to do what he did, then I'm behind him, you know. But all penalties hurt. Just like if I would have did it, all penalties hurt, you know. But if he saw fit to do it, that's his, you know, that's his prerogative. The weight of the world finally got the Cowboys.
Eric set the tone of the game today. He set the tone. I mean, having a big play, I was bumping and running on the other side, and I looked over like, damn, what's going on? I'm just mad because he didn't high step and dance a little bit. We got to talk about this, too.
You kind of feel the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat on both sides. You understand that how bad they're feeling, and they were true champions. But everybody knows it's time for some champions to bow out and let someone step in.
I'm not in any way disheartened. I'm disappointed, but not disheartened. I don't have the gall, really, to be disheartened. I certainly think it's an overreach to make this game a responsibility of Barry. If you're going to do criticism, I think what we're really referring to is, would Jimmy have done a better job coaching than Barry? And if anybody's going to get criticized for that, I think that'll be me.
Meanwhile, Dion also called Eric Davis my partner in crime. It's all over for the Cowboys, one in particular. That story later. The first quarter.
How about the one hanging on to Steve Young's back? As Leslie Visser reports, Sunday, Steve stepped forward and said enough with all this monkey business.
It will be considered a defining moment in the history of the 49ers. Players took pay cuts, management took chances, and finally Steve Young beat the Dallas Cowboys for the NFC title.
Seems like we've had our shots before and didn't get it done, and we made a pact with all of us and the whole team that if we got here that we'd make sure it got done, and it was just a great feeling to finally beat them.
Considering it a personal breakthrough, Young wanted to share the moment with the fans. His teammates especially understood the significance of the victory.
Especially for Steve, you know, he's done everything but take this team to the Super Bowl, and now he's done that. I think he kind of felt like that was the final hurdle, and he was very emotional. He could barely even talk.
The Big D turned out to be not Dallas, but the 49er defense, where names like Deion Sanders and Gary Plummer and Ken Norton came to the 49ers for just this day, and even they were thrilled for Young.
He's been taking so many shots. He's probably the best player out there. And for him to finally get his due, after so much that he's done, you kind of feel for him. Now he can take a sigh of relief and live in peace, like Chris Berman says.
He's a guy that has replaced Joe Montana in the hearts of a lot of Bay Area fans today.
Two former New Orleans Saints, Toy Cook and Ricky Jackson, had never advanced this far. Jackson had more than 800,000 reasons to be happy, the bonus he'll receive for advancing to the Super Bowl.
Now to come here and get a chance to go to Super Bowl, I mean, a lot of guys don't know what they've been missing, and I'm one of them guys.
I wanted to be so part of this so much that I did take that pay cut, and
But it paid off.
That's right. I just feel like, hey, a Super Bowl win is worth more than the actual dollars.
In the end, Steve Young has 2 trophies as league MVP, but now he has a chance to lead his team to the hardware he wants most, a Super Bowl ring. In San Francisco, I'm Leslie Visser.
And winning that, only then will he live in peace. Young has put up mind-numbing numbers over the last 13 games, sitting on 70% of his passes, accounting for 35 touchdowns. And consider the fact there were 11 teams in the league that didn't score 35 TDs this whole season.
As we break down this game, did the Cowboys season actually end? The day number 79, Eric Williams, racked up his knee in a car accident. Certainly looked that way at times during the NFC's first ever underwater championship game. Williams went down, and Sunday, Troy Aikman knew how he felt. With remaining offensive linemen Larry Allen and Nate Newton hobbling around, it was now Troy going down hard and going down again. Larry Allen, we'll start with him, number 73 off the ankle injury last week. He got beat early and often. Ricky Jackson busts past him, gets past him. Jackson going for a big bonus and got Allen off balance in the process. There's the replay. Okay, we can start now. Even when it appeared Aikman had time, watch the clock lower left. Jackson still gets in to tip the ball less than 3 seconds off the snap. Almost led to a Niner interception, but the ball was dropped by Troy Cook. The constant pressure led to more attention on Aikman and more trouble for Troy. Second half, key third down. Emmitt Smith on the receiving end, but he's far short of the first, although Jackson would be called for roughing the passer. Take another look at this as Jackson tips his helmet going for the ball. Right there he says to Troy, "Hello!" The penalty gave him a first down, led to a touchdown. The next Dallas drive, Aikman dealing with the pressure. He gets nailed by Troy Wilson, still completes it 18 yards to Kevin Williams. And then how'd he do this? Bad footing, being tackled, legs are buckling, still hits Michael Irvin and finds him for 20 yards. The next play, the pocket holds. This time Aikman does not. Misfires. Perhaps it was all the abuse earlier in the game. That was a problem. Deion pulled it off. Fourth quarter, Cowboys still have a shot, down by 10, 6.5 to go. Jackson beat Allen, then beat up Aikman. Almost created another interception. Same drive, a little Niner overzealousness. The late hit by Tim Harris. That keeps the drive alive, but 4th and 10, 4 plays later, Harris must go down. You must go down hard. On the day, Aikman knocked down 20 times, sacked 4 times, and left with 1 dirty pair of pants. The first quarter, of course, was the whole thing. And the touchdown total for the head-to-head matchup between these two teams and between these two quarterbacks, well, if you're going to pressure the other quarterback, he is not going to have much of a performance. Knock him down, and it's all over.
Well, Emmitt Smith said after the game, we fell behind 21-zip. It was like spotting Carl Lewis 20 yards on a 100-yard dash. Imagine trying to catch him with a pulled left hamstring. Then imagine trying to catch him with a pulled right hamstring. He's got both. As Emmitt walked off the field, here's Chris Mortensen.
The big issue for the Cowboys all week was Emmitt Smith's hamstring. 4 minutes, 19 seconds into the game, it didn't matter. An interception, 2 fumbles, a missed field goal, and the Cowboys were down 21-0.
The big shift was when we missed the short field goal, and then they come back and score the touchdown with 8 seconds left. You know, if we get that 3 points and they don't score, that's a big turnaround. And we're coming in at halftime with the realistic shot of making a run at them. But that just really was too much to overcome.
We spotted them too much, too early, you know, too soon, and it went, you know, time ran out on us.
While Dallas star receiver Michael Irvin had a record-setting day, the usual 49er nemesis, Alvin Harper, was shut down by Deion Sanders. Or was he?
They didn't give me a chance to go against Deion. They didn't call the number for me. They didn't call my play. They didn't even allow me to try to make a play on him.
But the most critical mistake by a coach was by Barry Switzer with 6 minutes left in the game, bumping an official, protesting a non-call downfield, and all but killing a go-for-broke drive.
Well, I just showed them what Deion does to Michael. They won't call it. It's 35 to 38 to make the call.
I'm not going to lie to you. It hurt the football team. You know, do we win the game if that doesn't happen? Yes. No. I'm kidding. Probably not.
Not every Cowboy left the locker room in such good spirits. Charles Haley had a surprise announcement.
I'm finished with football, so it's over with me. So no need to ask me questions about what could have, should have, anything, because football is no longer in my system anymore.
Cowboys owner Jerry Jones told us that he wants to sit down with Haley before he starts to put this team back together again. From Candlestick Park, Chris Mortensen, ESPN.